Hey everyone, it's Dr. Nelson from Carolina Active Health, and one of the questions I get asked all the time, if I had a routine to run through that covers mobility from head to toe, what would that be? And so today we'll go through what's called morning routine. Morning routine is a total mobility routine that you can cover each day. We really want it to be something that's a habit or a ritual, something that you can kind of look at doing every single day. It's also in a way that you can assess where your motion is. So we call it morning routine because it's something that's easy to do in the morning. I wouldn't roll right out of bed and go straight into it, but after you've been up and moved a little bit, spend about 15-20 minutes moving and then look at the morning routine. We're using controlled articular rotations through that, or CARs for short. What those are, they're really big ranges of rotational range of motion. Long story short, our body loves rotational range of motion, so our nervous system gets a lot of feedback when we run through that. It's also a way that we can get some hydration into the joints, and then again work on stretching and mobility throughout that morning routine. So we'll cover that starting now. Basic concept that we'll cover through this whole thing. We want to maintain good diaphragmatic breathing. We also want to work on creating what's called irradiation, and what that means is that if I'm working on moving my shoulder, all the muscles around that joint I want to tighten up, and so we'll cover that kind of first thing. So first of all, just kick your shoes off, get comfortable with us, and we'll start off with our neck. So as I'm standing, I want to grip my feet into the floor. I also want to tighten my calves. I'm going to tighten my thighs. I'm going to brace my core, brace my chest, hand, forearm, and upper arm. So all those should be contracted as I'm doing this. When I look at how strong that contraction should be, we're saying about a 3 or 4 out of 10. So if a 10's maximum contraction, I'm going to be about a 3 or 4. So not super intense, but it's something that helps us isolate motion within the joint. So as I go through this motion, I want to move just the joint that I'm trying to move. I don't want to compensate. So we're trying to really feel pure motion within whatever region that we're trying to move. We also want to go slow and controlled. So as we're doing this, think about 10% thicker than air. So if I'm just whipping my head around, I'm not getting a lot out of that. But if I'm very cautious and careful about how I'm moving, you can get a lot of feedback from your body. So we'll actually start with our neck. And so again, bracing through the floor first. We're going to tighten our calves, quads, bracing through the core, chest, and then for this one, both my arms and upper arm are all going to contract. So I've got everything tense. I've been, again, about a 3 or 4. I'm going to take my chin first and go as far down as I can go. And then I'll track my shoulder blade or my collarbone all the way over as far into that rotation as I can. From here, what I'm going to do is extend my neck back, come all the way over, turning as far as I can to the opposite side, back down to that start position. So I'll repeat that again. So we're going to do about 2 to 4 repetitions each way. Usually I'll do 2 in one direction and 2 in the opposite direction. So again, same direction, turning to the side, we're extending up, rotating as far as I can go, turning, and back to the start. Now we'll repeat that opposite direction. So down, turning to the side, extending, turning again, and back. Watch for your body sway and kind of shrugging your shoulders on that. Those are common compensations. Good. And up and over, rotating again, and back to the start. So we've got in our neck, we're going to move down to the torso now. So for this, I'll cross my arms, and what I'm going to do is try to really bend in that middle portion of my back, that middle torso. So I'm bending down slightly. I'm going to turn to the side. I'm extending straight back as far as I can go, rotating again, and then again back to that start position. We'll do the same thing. Good. And then let's repeat that to the opposite side. So extending through, rotating, back to the start, and then again, same thing, bending, extend and rotate, turn again, and back to the start. Now we'll go over to the shoulder. So for here, again, I want my forearm to stay tight the whole time. I'm going to flex my shoulder up as far as I can go. I'm going to rotate my hand, and then as I'm extending back, I'm going to keep rotating that shoulder. And then I'll finish with my palm facing out to the side. So again, just so you can see, we're coming straight overhead. I'm rotating. I'm going to continue to rotate as I'm pulling that down, and then I'll finish shoulder out to the side. So a couple in one direction, then I'll repeat. So I'm going to open my hand up and reverse that motion, come straight back, finishing overhead and back, and then again, same thing, rotating, extending, bringing that through, coming straight overhead, and then rotating. So for this one, common compensations, shrugging your shoulder, bending your body, or bending your elbow. We'll repeat that same thing on the opposite side. So I'm coming straight overhead, rotate that around, and back, and again, same thing. This is also a great way that you can assess yourself. So if I did this yesterday and I knew that that part was something I struggled with, that's an area that I want to focus on a little bit more. And we'll kind of repeat that same thing. And also, if you feel more difficulty in one spot, make sure you take your time and go really slow through that portion. That's kind of, mapping that motion out in your body. Good, and back. Another word of caution, you should not feel any pain when you're doing this. So if we're moving through that shoulder position, I get to here and I feel a pinch, I want to avoid that part of it. I can still do the motion itself, but I don't want to recreate pain. So now we're going to move down to the elbow. So from here, what I'm going to do is keeping my wrist straight, keeping my shoulder still, I'm going to flex my forearm up. I'm going to rotate my palm out and down. And again, repeat that. And again, we want to rotate as much as possible during these motions. Then I'm just going to reverse that. So palm's going to face out, palm back up and down. Good. Same thing on the opposite arm. So palm up, rotate over, and flex down. Good. And then I'll just reverse that. Good. And then down into the wrist. So for wrists, what we're going to do, we're going to hold our forearm. From here, what I want to do is, again, as much rotation as I possibly can go. So I'm going to create a big circle, almost like the end of my finger, my middle finger is a marker, and I'm trying to draw a really big circle. So all the way around and back to the start, and then we'll just reverse that. This one, you'll definitely notice a difference with your dominant hand versus non-dominant. Good. And then repeating that on the opposite side. Good. So I'm right-handed, so this one's a lot trickier for me to do. And then I'll just reverse that same motion. Good. So now we've gone from neck, torso, we've covered our shoulder, we've covered our elbow, down to the wrist. Now we're going to go down to the lower body. So first thing I'm going to do is actually in my hip. This is one of the trickier ones to feel and to do. A couple different ways to do it. One is standing. You can also do this on all fours or in that quadruped position. I'll show you the first one in the quadruped position. So we're down on all fours, and basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to flex my knee up as far as I can go. Again, keeping my back really still. I'm bringing my hip out to the side as far as I can go. I'm rotating my leg up to the ceiling, extending back, and then coming back down to that start position. So flexing forward, straight out to the side, rotating my foot to the ceiling, and extending my leg back and back down. If I were to do that standing, all I'm going to do, I'm coming up straight to the side this way, rotating that back and coming back around, back to the beginning. So again, we'll do clockwise and counterclockwise. Let me show you with the left leg as well. So I'm here, coming up, straight to the side, rotating up, around, and back down. And if I was on all fours, I'm gonna come straight forward, straight out to the side, rotating foot up, extending and back down. Now, if I was repeating that, same exact thing, just opposite. So I'm gonna actually start extended, I'm gonna rotate up, come out to the side, and then back down and back into flexion. So again, back, over to the side, rotating, good, and then back into flexion, and back down. Tricky, but I want to get as much range of motion with that one as I can. From the hip, we're going down to the knee. And so from the knee, you can actually get into a seated position for this. And what I'll do here, we don't have much range of motion in our knee, but we're going to try to get as much as we can. I'm really going to just wrap my hands around my thigh just to support my leg. And from here, I'm going to extend my knee out. I'm rotating out and then coming down. And then again, rotating in, out, rotation through, and back down. And then I'll just reverse that. So I'm out, in, and down. Good. And then we'll do the same thing on the opposite leg. So I'm here, I'm rotating, extending out, rotating in and down. So you can see that from the side view. In, out, over, and down. And then I'll just reverse that same series. Good. Perfect. Now down to the ankle. So from here, I really want to isolate motion just within the ankle. So I'm going to actually wrap my hands around my shin and just lock that in place. So this should be something we're not going to get too much motion from the tibia itself. We want to get all that motion through the actual ankle joint. So I'm locking in through here. And from here, what I'm going to do is press down as far as I can go. And then again, drawing that really big circle, almost like my little toe or my middle toe, I'm sorry, is the marker. I'm trying to draw as big of a circle as possible. Good. So 2 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise. Good. And then I'll repeat that same series on the opposite leg. So I'm locking that leg in, I'm pressing down, rotating all the way around. Good. And then we'll do the same thing opposite direction. Good. So we've covered ankles. Last thing to get is the feet. And so what we're going to do is stand up for this. We're going to go through a couple different motions that we should actually be able to do with our feet. We'll mix this up just a little bit. So the first thing that I want to do is actually just recreate that arch. And so from here, what you really want to focus on is contracting through with your big toe, but the goal is really to just raise that arch up. So you should feel that contraction. You can see on my foot how that just pulls that arch up. So I'm going to do that actually on both sides. And I'm trying to just get that arch to just build. So you should feel that contraction in the middle of your foot. Next one I'm going to do, we're going to keep our little toes still. So all the little toes should stay on the ground. And then what I'm going to do is just lift my big toe. So do about 4 or 5 repetitions with this. Good. And then we'll just repeat the same thing opposite. So big toe is going to stay on the ground and little toes are coming up. It's important for this one, it's easy just to roll your ankle in. We really want the toe to stay down and we're lifting just the little toes up. Again, about 5 or 6 repetitions on that. So that kind of covers everything. So we've covered, head to toe. That is morning routine. I hope this helps a lot. Again, try to make this something that's a habit that you can run through daily. And it's a self-assessment, so it's something that you can kind of build on as the week goes on. If you have any other questions, please reach out to our office, and thanks for watching.